Hello, it is me, Ryan from Studios, and I am back with another video, and today is the Quar finales, and it is the 24th, the day I'm filming this, Christmas Eve, and tomorrow this will be up on Christmas Day, which I'm just very excited for. I spent so much money and time into this MOC, and I'm just so happy to see it finally complete. It just looks beautiful. If you did not know, this spans across 36 by 36 base plates. I believe that's what it is. But there is also a A-wing that is on a landing pad and a first order transport. Both are MOCs that I did. This one I had for quite some time now. I just modified it for this MOC, and then the transport I made from scratch for this MOC. So as you can see, there are two bunkers, one right there and one right there. And there's kind of like a little battle scene taking place on the runway or the landing. I really don't know what it's called, but it did use a lot of 2x2 light bluish gray tiles, which I ordered about 300 of them for this MOC. So that's probably the most amount of pieces I've ever ordered for a MOC. And yeah, so this MOC is absolutely huge. It's gonna take forever to go over this entire thing, so we're just gonna start off here. If we remove the A-wing here, which there is its own video on it, go to the MOCs playlist on my channel and you will find this. But yep, that's the A-wing. This can open up and reveal Tally, who's the A-wing pilot. And yeah, that's the A-wing. And that's the landing pad up here. Nothing really much to it because I couldn't add that much detail because the A-wing was very big. There's a couple antennas over here, and then there's some lights that are scattered around, and there's also little steps leading up to kind of the hill area, which we'll get into a lot later. There's also this big kind of I really don't know what it's called, but it's kind of like there's an antenna, and then there's like, I guess, a radar dish up there, and there's also a ramp that can lead up to the landing pad. So over here is a fuel cell, and that kind of leads into the bottom of here. Kind of just leads into like wherever it's connected by a wire or like a tube piece. And then over here is kind of a crate on top of like a moving landing platform. And then there's just a bunch of similar things. Like there's a crate over here, which is probably the most complex crate I think I've ever made for any particular MOC. It's very weird, and I really do love the shaping of it. So we'll just put that back in place. Also, this the base of this is 2 bricks high, so this is a very tall MOC. And there's lots of like there's a bit detailing. I tried to add a bit detailing so that it's not really that boring. And I also added both gray colors in it so that it's not very uniform, because obviously it's not, because it's older. For this, I used a bunch of plates, angled plates, to kind of get the side walls of the bunker, and I think I did that really well. It was very hard to get around that, especially to put the terrain on somewhat of an angle, but I do think it looks really good, and I'm super happy the way it turned out. We also have a few more like I guess wires or tubes that lead just around the area, and there's also another fuel cell thing over here, which is not connected, but that's fine. And then this is where the rebels are kind of the resistance is defending the base. And then of course there's a huge squadron of first order flame troopers and just normal first order troopers, and then there's an officer leading the battle. And I'll show you the transport that I made for this MOC. It's really hard to access the interior because there is a couple support beams in there, and this can open and close like so. This is kind of a light here, and then there's a light on top of it, like a floodlight. I also have the dark gray detailing on top as well, and then the turret can move. If we move this out of the way, it can move 360 degrees, but that's fine. Also here we have a kind of like the control center for it, and there's a hidden door feature. This also has a video of its own that you could probably check out in the MOC playlist if I have it put in there. And then these are kind of askew, but there are 2 ion engines in the back so that it can be easily kind of, let's just take this off, so that it can be easily transport the troops. So If we move over here, same kind of thing. These doors do slide, both of them. So this one slides into the hill like so. It's kind of gets stuck sometimes. And then this one does the same. It goes into this hill. And yeah, so that was probably the one feature that I was most worried about, and it's also hard to leave room for it as well. So this hill is probably the hardest and most complex that I had to do because I was running short on slope pieces, so I used like a lot more plates on this one, and it looks really good. I think they both look good. I would say this is the hill that was the biggest pain in the butt, and this is the base plate. If you haven't been watching the series, it did end to like this building series part of it. Obviously, there's still a finale because I'm recording this right now. But so basically what happened is I was working on the interior. I was working on this like secret room over here, and the base plate, this one fell, hit me directly in the head, and hit the ground. So this base plate was completely wiped. It was flat. It was at this level. And then this base plate, it lost its two sides here and there, and then this base plate was luckily completely fine. But I really hated rebuilding this because it took the longest, and yeah, that wasn't very fun. But anyways, this is probably that destruction was probably the reason why I stopped the series, because I was working on this like a half an hour at a time, and there was no reason for me to keep filming videos every week. So I just decided that I would just stop the series, still have the finale, and it's worked out perfectly. Over here we have a couple more crates and stuff, and then there's some over here as well. And then here is it's like a giant minigun, and it's connected, it's fueled by this little cell thing that's very big, but I think it looks really good nonetheless. There's an antenna that's on there as well, and then I have like, so in like war, they usually have these like sandbags. I think that's what they are, sand. Inside, but they do it because it's I guess it stops bullets quickly. So I thought, you know, maybe make it a bit more like that. So I put a few of those pieces down there because I thought it looked like a bag the most, and I think it looks really good. So also in this hill, there's like a little hidden feature. If you have been watching this series, if we just move this guy out of the way so he doesn't get hit, we probably take this piece off, which is not supposed to be there anyways, and we can flip this, and there's like a little interior. I don't think that was supposed to be there. And there's like a little interior where you can fit a gunner. It's like tiled and everything, and there's control panels in there. I can't really access it. We could put a gunner in there. Obviously this isn't the best way to put them in there. It's just very hard and it's very squished, but I think this does look very nice. Alright, so after 10 minutes of me trying to put back these two base plates, the three base plates together, we finally have the complete interior. So we'll start off here. So originally right here was going to be a room for Jedi Fallen Order, but then I kind of didn't know what to do with it. I was thinking about it for too long, and so I decided to close it off, and I think it's fine because I already have another Easter egg room over there. Over here is like a little jail cell, nothing really much. The walls are like plates, but then there's also like the vines, because I know that in the Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens video game there were vines on Dequar. So we have that. Nothing really much. It's kind of tiled over here, and then in here is kind of the main control bay. We have Admiral Akbar and Princess Leia, and then we have these kind of things that keep falling off because I really have no idea why, but they just fall off, and they're really annoying actually. And then over here we have like a little thing that has a bunch of tools on it. Don't know why that's there at all. Actually, it should probably go this way. And then in here we have like kind of a weapons room. There's some weapons with the racks on. There's some over here as well. Here's a crate, and then here's like a little thing with thermal detonators on it. And then over here is kind of like the steam thing. I really have no idea what this is. And then over here is like a control panel that was from the AT-ST set that came out in Rogue One. And then over here is kind of a Easter egg from the Mandalorian. If I move this, you can kind of see. If you could see, this is the room that the Mandalorian kills those two stormtroopers when he's getting Baby Yoda. So I did make a Lego Baby Yoda that I'll make in my Razor Crest video. Yes, I am making a Razor Crest. I already had one. I decided to break it because there was no landing gear and it's just really small. So I am building a new one. So that's good. We also have some stormtroopers here. I used the sand troopers because I thought they looked like dirty regular stormtroopers. Okay, so back to the regular scheduled program. So up here we have just every kind of foliage piece you could think of it's on this MOC. So we have the I really don't know what it was called. It's like we have a bunch of stem pieces, we have a bunch of vines, we have a bunch of leaf pieces, the older ones and the newer ones. We have a bunch of stems. We have a bunch of stuff. So there's also a bunch of trees here that were very difficult to design because some of them, like this one, are split halfway in the middle by this base plate. So this one is not very sturdy. We also have a bunch of like these vine pieces. Here's kind of like a chain piece represented like bullets. Like I really didn't know what to do with it. I would say that I shouldn't even made that, but it still looks cool nonetheless. So we have a trooper up here that's on like a jumper here. That obviously doesn't get put back on. So we have a bunch of like leaf pieces. There's just a lot of texturing and detailing. First I put down the plates. Next I put down like these leaf pieces in this the newer leaf pieces like that one. And then I put down the rest of it. So there's like 3 layers to this, to the foliage on the ground. Also this one is split off. If I split these 2 base plates, it's just a little bit. There's a solo Easter egg. And inside is a bit of coaxium, which I just thought, you know, why not? I was watching Solo at the time when I was building this, and I'm like, screw it, let's just put coaxium in there, in the tree. So, the tree is very radioactive, so. Also, over here, we have a little rat, so it's just not straight up boring to look at. And then, we also have another tree over here, which is probably the weirdest tree. Like, it just doesn't really make any sense to me. And then these trees are connected, like the leaves, because they're both connected by the same base plate, and also this one kept falling over, so I needed support from this tree, because this tree was probably the strongest out of the ones I made. So I do wish I had a tree about here, and maybe over here and over here, but I kind of ran out of tree pieces, and I also ran out of leaf pieces too, which kind of stinks. So next time I'll need them, I'll order more. So that's kind of it for this side. So now let's go into the final portion of the video. So I would consider this build series, the Quar, a very mild success. So obviously it had its ups and downs. At one point, the pieces never came for like a month, and then the next point, I kind of lost motivation after it broke for like 2 weeks. So that was great, but in the end, it looks good. It's done, and it looks absolutely amazing. So now let's talk about my next MOC. I'm not going to reveal it. I will reveal what the next MOC will be halfway through January. So and it is from the Rise of Skywalker, and you guys are gonna love it. I know I'm gonna love it. However, this is gonna be it's gonna be a very expensive MOC, so bear with me if I don't release an episode one day. So that's kind of it for that MOC. But this MOC I absolutely love. I would say this is probably my favorite Star Wars MOC that I've made, just because of like all the time I spent the entire fall and partial of winter building this MOC, and it just looks absolutely amazing. Like I stare at this MOC. I have so many memories of me building it. I watched like basically half of Gotham, of the Gotham TV show, just building this MOC. So like this just makes me feel so happy just to look at it and know that it's complete. However, now I'm kind of bored because the only thing I have to do is either just watch YouTube or play Xbox, because there's nothing else to do now. Yeah, well, I am still working on other MOCs that are super secret, and maybe some other videos that are super secret, and maybe a new intro. I never said anything. But, so, yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Leave a like down below if you do like this MOC and want to see more to come, not from this MOC. Maybe I'll do a cinematic, like, kind of what I did with Kashyyyk, but instead I made that in the video. It's not going to be in this video because I have people coming over in like an hour or so, and I still have to vacuum my room. So that is it for this, guys. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.